Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Su.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about why you should change your lead forms to applications. So a while back, I was talking to a webinar guy, and basically what he said was, Eric, have you considered changing your lead forms to applications? And actually, to be even more specific, what I was trying to do was I was trying to drive people from webinar to actually buying something directly, which is what I saw all the time. And for some reason, it wasn't doing that well in the first place. And what he said was, does that kind of offer make sense for your audience? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, why don't you try changing it to an application instead and see how that does?
Well, let's back up because I think you lost some people here. You were getting people to register from a webinar. Mm-hmm. On the webinar, were you selling a service, a course, an ebook, a product?
Yeah, it was a bundle. It was courses and software.
Okay, how much were you charging?
So that was about $2,500 minimum.
Okay, and you would take people on the webinar. You would show a buy button towards the end.
Yep.
I'm assuming you're using
like a link.
You're using Webinar Jam?
No, I was using Zoom.
That's half the problem. Mm-hmm. Webinar Jam converts a lot better. Switch to that. Okay. So and then you're taking the people from webinar or Zoom. They would click on the link, and where would they go?
They would go to a page where they can buy. So this is modeling off of Russell Brunson's webinar.
So you're using his perfect webinar formula.
Correct.
And you did everything from showing like, here's the value, cross out the numbers, to
the stack and everything. You get this.
Yeah. Doesn't always work that well.
Mm-hmm.
His model works depending on the audience. It is an amazing formula though. Okay, so you were then, you used to send people to a checkout page and they would just buy for $2,500. I'm assuming it was $2,497.
Yes. Yes. Wow.
No one uses the $2,500 price point.
Yeah.
Dude, I did so many webinars. I know this shit so well. Okay, and then you changed it to an application. What do you mean by that? So you sent them on the webinar still to a buy link?
No, so now it goes to an apply link. So it's singlegrain.com/apply.
From the webinar?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, then they apply. And what do you ask them on the application page?
Wow, okay. There's a lot of questions on the application page. So if you actually... Here's a good example. If you go to consulting.com or if you go to Clients on Demand, they have a good example. Oh, you okay there?
Yeah, I'm like, I keep hitting the microphone. My bad.
So anyway, while I'm looking at the page right now, Neil's pulled it up. So what happens first when you go to that page is it goes to a schedule once where you can book a call with us. That's the first thing. And then after that, they have to fill out a type form survey that basically asks a bunch of questions about their business. How much revenue do they do? Why are they fit to work with us? Do they have the financial resources? All that kind of stuff to basically really qualify them. And it actually does really well.
Yeah, you took the Russ Ruffino model.
Correct.
And have you listened to his courses?
No.
At the very end, he even asks you from a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you to kick butt like Chuck Norris?
Ah, I like that.
Because if they say 10, they're super motivated. They have the right mindset. If they say 1 or 2, their mindset isn't there. It's going to be
then
also
you disqualify them. Right.
And you change your model from selling self-service. You have them fill out an application. Because Sam Evans doesn't do much of an application.
He does now.
I watched his webinar yesterday.
No, we tested his funnel, and there's actually a strategy call. We did it last week.
Sam, I was on his consulting.com webinar the other day.
We might be in 2 different funnels.
And all he does is he sends you to a buy page. Look, I have it on my thank you page or on my computer. It's bookmark up.
I believe you, but I'm saying we might have 2 different.
Sales Accelerator, he starts here, $2,000, and then you just buy.
I'm telling you, he has literally the same kind of funnel.
And then he gets you on the phone. And then you got on the phone, and what was his team trying to sell you at?
So my person on my team got on the phone with one of his people.
Okay.
Yeah, and then basically it was like a strategy call where they were talking through like, okay, what are your pain points? And it was actually very consultative. And then we also had a person from my team listen to kind of Russ Ruffino's. That one wasn't as believe she said it wasn't as helpful.
Russ Ruffino's wasn't as helpful, or Sevens wasn't?
Correct. Russ Ruffino's.
And then with the consulting.com, did they get pitched on buying it for $2,000?
They did get pitched on it, but they gave 2 options because they have 2 different offerings.
I bet you what ended up happening is they went to the webinar, they didn't buy. I have the same email sequence. The email sequence tries to get you to talk to the person, Jesse or whoever, and jump on the phone.
Yeah, who knows? But anyway,
so you changed it to application. We're getting sidetracked here.
Yeah.
You changed it to application. You got more qualified people. And then did you make any sales from that?
We did.
How many sales?
One for $6,000. Well, no, we got 3 sales total.
Okay.
So yeah.
3 sales, $6,000, and you just got people on the phone and started selling them.
Yep.
And how long have you been running the webinar for?
So we ran that one time, and I'll tell you what, it was a really small, because we ran to like a small segment of the list. There's only 43 people that were on the webinar. And
dude, that's an amazing conversion rate, by the way.
Which is why now we're going to start to make it evergreen. So this is one of those things where we get to learn from each other live. And I'll tell you what I found was this. I was the guy that recommended that I switch to an application. Originally, it was he's like, okay, I was like, what's a good conversion rate then from webinar to application? He's like, oh, anywhere from 15 to 20%. So mine was 25%, which I always knew that when I teach, and same thing for you too, when we teach, like people get so much value, but like, what do you do next? So did that, and yeah, things are looking a lot better.
Dude, I bet you fast forward. I can teach you all not even teach you. I can give you our funnels and everything that comes.
We got to teach everyone on this podcast.
Yes,
yeah.
I bet you'll just start wanting to do that instead of consulting.
Who knows? Who knows? But here's the thing.
It is the
what I'll say
easiest
too,
money though.
It actually does lead to consulting leads.
Correct, but we tried doing it in a mass scale. We took it, instead of doing 2,500, we did it for...
You did it for 10 grand.
10 grand.
Yeah.
We were getting 40 plus scheduled calls per day. We couldn't handle the volume. Once you start getting to price points like 10 grand, we did sell some. The numbers didn't make sense. When you start doing price points like 2,500, 3, 4 grand, you tend to make quite a bit more money. That's like the Tim Sykes model. Because once you start getting to 10 grand, almost all the people who could pay us, they didn't want to pay us. And they just said, I'd rather just hire you guys to do it all and pay you more.
Which is why Neil Patel Digital
exists. Exactly. Yep. That's why I started the agency. But you're totally right. The application process works. The key with the application, though, is to figure out their mindset. So you have to have all your qualification questions in there. And then at the very end, ask a question like, from a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you to kick butt like Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris or something? And then once they put in number 10 or something like that, it does well. The other question you need to ask is, you're going to get a lot of scheduled calls that don't show up. So make sure you text them for call reminders, and then also make them type in a whole sentence at the very end before they're allowed to submit the form. And it's something like, I promise to show up to my scheduled call that commitment. I picked.
Yeah.
And once they type it, you also notice that your show-up rates will increase.
What software did you use? Because we use Schedule Once for the reminders. Did you do the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so make sure you're setting up those reminders. Super important, because people forget this stuff, especially if you're scheduling like a little longer out. Like, you got to make sure that you're on top of them.
Yeah, so we did Schedule Once for the reminders. You also don't want to do your calls more than 2 days out, so more than 48 hours. The moment you do more than 48 hours, your show-up rate drops from more than 80%. If you do within 48 hours, you typically can have an 80+% show-up rate.
Cool. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, that is it for today. So we are thinking about doing a live event in Los Angeles, but we need your help to make it happen. We got to hit 1 million downloads a month. Go to rate, review, subscribe our podcast, and head over to marketingschool.io/stats and to track our progress. Once we hit that 1 million, we will throw the live event for free in Los Angeles. We're going to have the recordings as well. There's going to be food as well. And look, we're doing this so you can help us grow, and then we'll help make this bigger and bigger together. With that being said, again, marketingschool.io/stats, and we will see you tomorrow.